Hello world. Talk me, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, my mic's
Yep.
working fine then. All right, let's give it a few more minutes for others to join.
Can anyone? Yoshi said I'm going to listen more and talk less. The booster is messing with me, so my body can't decide if it wants to be hot, cold, and my appetite has plunged. The first shot, I got nothing. The second shot, I had constipation for 2 days and then diarrhea for 3 days. And the third shot was nothing. I haven't got the fourth one yet.
Welcome in, Shannon. I saw you joined earlier, and I didn't start
welcome
the
back.
meeting yet.
I'm sorry about that. I was like, I accidentally joined like previous meeting late, so I was like a little like I was like a little like over like nervous about that. So I was like let me like see like maybe they joined just to like before the meeting started, like, you know, I want to be like in that case, like at least I'm like there, you know, and if I'm early then I'm early, then I'll just leave. And
yeah, you were there for like 30 seconds though.
Yeah, I know. I was like on there. I was like, wait a minute. I probably shouldn't be on here. This is weird. Nobody's on here. And then I just left. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay.
Yeah, I always try to get on early, but it never works. Life is too fast. Welcome back, Aisha.
I got my first write-up at work today.
Ooh, fun.
Ooh,
and it's not even my, so I started a job at a bank and new to banking. So I don't know a lot of the regulations and policies. So we have to count the vault every single day. And one of the like other people that have, so it's a brand new staff in this bank. Everyone's brand new. But one of the staff members like was like, hey, can you verify my count? And I was like, sure. What is that? And she was like, just, oh, you have to sign here. My mistake was not actually physically counting the vault myself to verify it. And we missed like, I think it was $5,000 worth of like quarters, but we weren't short that. We were above that. So it wasn't that bad. But yeah, now I know. Don't just trust anything. Cover my ass. Count it myself.
Valuable life lesson. $5,000 in quarters.
It's crazy. We have people that come in every week and need like boxes and boxes of quarters.
I was thinking that's a lot of laundry.
Now I'm thinking of like Scrooge McDuck with like all like the coins and like
yeah. All right, we'll give it 2 more minutes in case anybody else shows up. I put the agenda in the chat. I'll do it again if anyone else comes. New agenda and a whole new world. Felix, should I attend today? Yes. Felix just sent me a message somewhere.
Felix is working on UPS, so it's like he has been in usual.
He sent me a message somewhere. I probably in one of the other chats. It just popped up on my screen saying, "Should I attend?" And I just replied yes. That's why I laughed, because I didn't understand the question. All right, 1 more minute and oh, okay.
Oh my God, they actually delivered it to the front door.
Okay.
I'll be back in 1 minute.
Okay. So we've had a few regulars and a few irregulars. I think 8 people was the biggest meeting. We've had 3. This will be our 3rd meeting since going back to weekly meetings. So we plan to continue weekly. We may or may not change the date and time depending on people, but we tried that once before and like nobody showed up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say, like, I don't, if we plan on switching to morning, I may not be able to attend because
No, it's
especially
not
like,
like this, no.
yeah.
Because a lot of people work. I'm on disability, but I work like from the time I wake up in the morning till the time I go to bed. I just don't get paid for any of it. That's the mutual aid thing. Some of it I get paid for. But yeah, it's gonna stay a night meeting. Stay in the evenings.
Yeah, that's good. That works out. That's probably for the best.
Yeah, for a
Also,
lot of people.
yeah. Also, I sent something on Slack. First of all, I don't know, like, I asked Felix before, like, about, wait, it, yeah, I asked Felix about, like, I messaged him about, like, these links to, like, because I found, like, some information, like, I don't know if, like, the Google Sheets has been updated, but when I last checked it, like, for, like, the list of, like, organizations that we had information about and, everything, like, resources on, there were, like, a few that had, like, no information found. And I tried to find, like, information about them, and I found, like, some, like, links to, like, their social media and stuff. So I
Okay.
put some of that in the Slack, and then I also found, just like a few minutes ago, I found some information on, like, Hope City Socialists.
Yeah, we work with
I
them.
found, like, I think I found, like, their Instagram and yeah.
I have not gone over the list lately, so I may or may not be able. We're gonna get to that later in the agenda, though. I kind of organized it by topic, so keep that in mind, and when we get there, we'll bring it up.
All right, thank you.
All right. So since I'm not sure if everyone knows everyone, we'll do our introductions, name, pronouns, and like what groups you're in, and anything else you want to say. I will start. I'm Mark Lesko, he, him, and I'm in Central Jersey DSA, NJPPC, and a whole lot of other groups, a lot of environmental stuff. Shannon, since you've been talking, you can go next.
All right. My name is Shannon. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm also in the I'm in the Central New Jersey DSA Mutual Aid Committee, and that's kind of it.
Pick a person.
Oh, Mia, since your mic is on.
Hi, my name is Mia. I'm part of, my pronouns are she, her. I'm part of Union County Mutual Aid, and yeah, that's it. And this group. Aaron wants to go next, I would assume.
Hi, I'm sorry, what?
Your introduction, your name, pronouns, and what groups you're in.
Oh, cool. I guess I'm right on time then. My name is Aaron. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm with Central Jersey DSA.
You have to introduce the cat too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, how rude.
Is that Mozart?
This is Mozart. Yes.
Oh my gosh, Mozart.
He won't tell me what his pronouns are though.
Oh.
So I guess I just made them up. So anyway. He's everywhere. He's part of everything.
Pick a person.
I don't know who's already gone.
Me, Mia, and Shannon went.
I'm sorry, who went?
Me,
Oh.
Mia, and Shannon.
Aisha, would you like to go next?
Sure. Sorry, I'm just moving rooms. I was doing dishes. I'm Aisha. My pronouns are she, her, and I am in the Central Jersey DSA Labor Committee and Housing Justice Committee. Am I the last one?
No, we still have Yoshi. Okay.
Yoshi. I'm pronoun he, him, they, Central Jersey DSA.
Okay. Well, welcome everybody. So I did this agenda from scratch. Mia gave me a few things, and then I put in a few things and organized it all. So just some updates. For anyone who doesn't know, we're voting on Lumio now. So anybody can suggest anything to vote. We usually give it like a week or so, maybe more or less, depending on what it is. And then we'll be doing the voting on Lumio, so that way people who can't attend the meetings can still vote, or you can have time to think about it and still vote. Unless there's like a critical vote, we may do at a meeting, but for the most part, they'll be done on Lumio. Like if it's got to be decided by tomorrow, we'll have to do it that night, but we're going to try to avoid that. At this point, voting is going to be done by person, by individual, and anyone can vote. Anyone. And if you need Lumio, if you need anything, contact Mia. Any of the things we're going to talk about. She did all the tech for this. And just some updates. We are having a social event, and we decided on October in a Saturday, and it was put up to vote in Lumio, and October 29th won with 4 votes. So it looks like that will be our date of a social event. More to be talked about that later. And the onboarding protocols that I think Mia made was also up for vote, and that passed and is now adopted. For anyone new, anything that is adopted or finalized can always be changed in the future by another vote. So nothing is set in stone, but we need to have like at least organization enough to really start spreading out. Okay. Mia did a whole bunch of tech work, which I don't understand really at all. So she will be bringing that up probably later. I didn't know what to say about that in updates. Any questions there? Comments, complaints? Okay, so for right now, I broke the agenda up into logistics, tech, and outreach. I've been doing mostly logistics. Email's been doing tech, and outreach, sort of a mix of people. I know Felix did some outreach, so if he shows up, we'll discuss that. I started a new email thread with the people who started coming, because the old email thread, no one's replying to it. We had a long thread, and I don't have access to the original list of who it was sent to, so I started a new one. So there's emails that are going to be sent to Slack, which will contain everyone from the old email address. I think you can explain all that better. But I started a new email list to keep track of anyone who's been coming to meetings. So every week I'll be sending out an email to the people that have started coming. So the last 2 meetings plus tonight. If you have, if you send me your personal email address, we have a spreadsheet now with everyone's name, email addresses, and we also have your name at snnj something org or Gmail. I don't know what it is, but we have another email address which Mia can set you up with. So this week I sent the email to both personal email addresses and the SSNJ email addresses, and there's instructions in there for what to do about that. If anybody who wasn't here wants the emails, I could send the last 2 emails to you, forward them to you. So if you want to message me, email me or something, your information, we can put it in there and you'll get the weekly emails. And again, contact me for any tech stuff. I just put my email address in the chat, my regular email address. Okay, so I'm just going to try to keep track, and as people leave or come in, we'll keep adding to the list. Okay, so discuss the teams the group needs. So far, logistics, tech, outreach, and creative were the 4 categories that we put in there. Gave me a posted a link with the current membership in the chat. There's what Mia uses as the total membership is different than the email I send, which is just for the people who've come to the planning meetings. You can share it with people, I don't care, but I'm only sending it to the people who have been here. And so we talked about like splitting up into different teams. So right now the agenda is logistics, tech, outreach, and creative. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but we can figure that out. So while we're on this topic, does anybody have any thoughts on those for our 4 teams, or adding any more teams, or any less teams, or any thoughts at all? I'll take that as a no. And Aaron said, Mia, I don't have access to that doc. Some of the documents you can only open through an SNNJ email. Due to permissions, some of them will be available to anyone. Oh, it's team explanations. I don't even know if I saw that yet. I may have. We've been working back and forth, like doing this like late at night. So, okay, so no feedback there. Okay, so we'll just letting everybody know that can again change. That's not anything set in stone. We're just discussing that. And I want to hold off on C for a second, and go down to E, which is Lumio poll is still open for obtaining a fiscal sponsor. Me and I were talking about making it a nonprofit at some point in the future, and I think it was Leah suggested a fiscal sponsor, which is generally a first step towards a nonprofit anyway, but allows us to get money donated. So there's a vote on Lumio right now that's still open. Should we try to obtain a fiscal sponsor or not? And it's a yay, nay, abstain vote, and all votes, anything 50 greater than 50% wins. Aisha?
Yeah, this is a little bit, I have multiple questions. So I think it's,
Go ahead.
okay. So I know the next point on the agenda is about the points of unity and keeping it as is or modifying. And I think, I know I haven't been to meetings, and that's like for a few reasons. Like, so when we first talked about doing this, it was a way for mutual aid groups in New Jersey to meet each other and learn what each other were working on and to share information. And obviously, like, everyone was coming to the weekly meetings in like February, March, April, and then May. So because of what like happened right before the event, a lot of groups sort of pulled out, and I don't think have been active since then. And so right now, like, almost everyone here is from Central New Jersey DSA. So this is sort of, I guess my questions are a few things. So like, I know that myself, one of the reasons why I wanted like the mutual aid groups to meet each other was, well, like, one, I mean, that's a good idea, and we've been wanting to do that for a long time, but also especially because this year, capacity is down in each mutual aid group. Like, I've talked to so many, and everyone is saying this, whether it's in New Jersey and across the country. And so like, it was a way for us to hopefully not have to do more work, but to share so that we could do, like, make our energy and resources go farther rather than creating a whole new group. It was more just like for groups to learn from each other and you know, do things like the social event or like the conference where we could meet each other and do that. This is turning into something totally different. And I know, again, like, I haven't been to meetings, but I just think that it's good to figure out, like, what are the missions and goals here, because they're completely different from what it was in the beginning. And the other thing is that, like, I think we should be very honest, like, Central Jersey DSA is struggling with the mutual aid group committee that it has. And so doing a whole nother group that has weekly meetings, I'm sort of confused about like what the new mission and goals are. And then I think it's also really important, especially if this is becoming a nonprofit, for like people to opt in rather than opt out, because all the people who were working on it before, this is a totally different thing. So I think we definitely have to make sure that whether it's PMA, Central Jersey DSA, any other groups want to be like part of the network, if it's a nonprofit that's doing totally different things than we started with. And again, I know that like, this isn't a criticism, it's just like a, hey, like, just heads up, everyone should be like on the same page and know the right information. I'm definitely like I do not have the capacity to be part of this group. I already also stepped back from Central Jersey DSA's mutual aid group. So, but I did want to come in tonight because we spent so much time, and like, the conference was great. I think it was good that like so many people came and learned, and we learned from each other, and it was a really great like relationship building event. But yeah, so I think, I know I'm jumping ahead a little, but I think if we're talking about fiscal sponsors, I think that conversation of what the group is and what the mission and goals are has to be way before forming a nonprofit, because nonprofits have a lot of rules. Like, we did not form a nonprofit with Central Jersey DSA Mutual Aid because you have to have, there's like a lot of rules for it. And you can get audited, and it can be like, you have to keep like records of everything, and you have to, there's just like, the reason why we didn't do it there was because we didn't want to have people who or recipients of mutual aid have like lists of names and addresses and all of that stuff. But I know those are two different issues, but I do think that like thinking all of that through is really, really important.
I'll get to Mia in 1 second. I think she's gonna reply to what you said, but we're not a mutual aid group, but merely a group to connect mutual aid groups together. So that kind of principle is staying.
Right, but I think people need to opt in and know, because we can't say that people are part of this if they don't know they're part of it, like a nonprofit.
Well, it's not a nonprofit yet. Right now, it's just meetings. So that would come down the line. That's a future endeavor. So right now, we're just meeting to discuss what we're going to do going forward and making the plan to figure out who we are, what we're going to do. Because like you said, most of the people disappeared and only a few of us kept going the whole time. So we kind of didn't have anybody else to bounce ideas off of until we started weekly meetings again. All right, Mia?
Let me open up this one document. I think that can really onboarding manual. Okay, here it is. So under the who we are, Solidarity Network NJ is a coalition of mutual aid groups located across the state of New Jersey. We facilitate events and communication amongst groups so everyone can thrive. We began in 2022 by coming together from multiple groups to plan the state's first mutual aid conference. The event was a success and showed the power of groups coming together where everyone has a vision of what mutual aid means to them. We were able to help groups to mobilize for abortion defense. We were able to have a rifle association explain the rights of gun owners and how this ties into mutual aid. And during the conference, we also taught people how to secure their communications. It took months of planning with people as the planning reached different stages, but it is a display of the beauty of community organizing, and it showed it's okay to take a step back from action whenever it is needed, and to jump right back in by reviewing easy understood notes taken by members during the meetings. Many planners have talked since the event about what is next for SNNJ, and the consensus to push the boundaries of community mobilization even further and connect as many people as possible. Our mission is simple. We want to enable everyone to have a voice in mutual aid and never be afraid to speak up through a democratic process. Since the event, we have launched an LMS where people can build courses with the skills they have. We deployed a secure communication server to allow safe communication amongst the members.
You're cutting out, Mia.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can hear you.
We can hear you.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Next stages of our group depends on you and making your voice heard. Believe in collaboration. Not every time something is proposed, it shows democratic nature, forming a network for everyone.
Yeah, your audio is really breaking up. No, we can't hear you at all. Are you still here? We lost Mia. So when she comes back. Felix, you're on Stack.
I think Mia's explanation was pretty good, but one concern is, I guess, so we've mentioned that we've had trouble with doing outreach to people. I think a big part of that is that other groups have also been going through membership concerns, and they have their own tasks as well, trying to do member recruitment, outreach to old members. Similarly, Central Jersey DSA has been undergoing similar. I think when we talked with Harishi, he was experiencing similar concerns. I think it's not necessarily unique to any single organization. but as a result, it makes it so like the goals of the network, which is to make sure that committees are still in contact with each other. That
Before you
they're
go,
wo-
before you go any further, can I finish explaining the
Yeah, sure.
updated? Okay. The next stages of our groups depends on you and making your voice heard. We believe in a collaboration, and while proposals may not stick every time something is proposed, it shows the democratic nature of forming a network for everyone to tap into when they need to. We believe in a few points that describe us accurately. We are abolitionists. We are believers in a solidarity economy. We are anti-racist. We are anti-imperialist. We are the force behind collective liberation. What we are not a mutual aid group, but a facilitator of groups. We do not provide direct aid, but through our network, we are able to link you with a group in your area that can help. Depending on the community is extremely important in these times. So much with chaos going on in the government, gatekeeping, and our politicians catering to special interest groups. We are not a tiered leadership format. Instead, we believe everyone has an equal vote in how we run our programs. What does this mean for my group? If your group joins the network, you will have access to our cloud platform. You will also access our growing email list that is built around transparency. You have the option to make changes locally and statewide by participating in meetings. Groups are encouraged to invite as many members to our meetings so everyone can be heard. If your group joins, you will have access to graphic design, systems admin, financial resources, collective database of groups all around the state. When you join, your journey to building strength and solidarity for your community is endless. And yeah, then it talks about how it was proposed to form a federation. During the Solidarity Conference 2022, the planners proposed forming a federation. We listened and have had numerous discussions about how we can be better to serve each other and their goals all over the state. From that discussion at the conference, we agree we do not need to be a federation. We recognize every group has different views on what mutual aid is and how to go about practicing the principles of mutual aid. We all may not be the same, and from that discussion and practicing the principles of mutual, oh wait, I just read that, showed us to recognize the strengths of everyone who attended. So building a network of that strength will prove to be paramount for everyone new and not yet formed group. So that is basically who we are. The only thing that changed about the points of unity was the removal of anti-capitalist. And the only reason why we removed that was because we want groups like NJ Harm Reduction to, because basically they're a nonprofit, so they have funds to do a lot more things, and we don't feel like we should limit the network to every group that is officially formed. And like obviously like landlords, they can fuck off, they're not invited. But like small businesses that like help their community, we believe that like those should be included as well. Just for the fact that like they're giving back to their community. We haven't really made a litmus test to what exactly is allowed, and that's something that's constantly ongoing. And the reason why we proposed forming a nonprofit was because of the financial ability of raising funds and distributing it across the network to other groups as they need it. That was the sole reason to do that. And yeah, I mean, that kind of explains everything. If you have questions, please, like I've wrote documents on everything we are and what we are not. And I feel like I've always asked for input from everyone, so that like it's not just me deciding. And that's where Lumio comes into play. Like you can literally propose your own idea and it will get sent to everyone in the group to vote on. So yeah, I hope that cleared up some of the questions. And Felix, it's your turn.
So I guess my concern was that, say for the fundraising thing, would it not make sense for, I guess, like the connection of different mutual aid groups? Part of the reason there are disparate groups like this is that a lot of mutual aid work is going to be kind of geographically centered, and like the most important, like it is vital for groups to exchange information and like, but often, like say a lot of our outreach has been going to meetings of other groups or trying to contact them. Would it not make more sense to continue suggesting that people do that kind of outreach, like individually, like groups that are adjacent to each other in adjacent counties and adjacent cities, do that kind of outreach naturally rather than having like us as an intermediary? Does that increase does that benefit the groups in any way to a more considerable degree, the amount of time that they're splitting off to work with us? I guess that's my main concern.
Well, in terms of who to outreach to, like I think someone said that, they're only going to reach out to one group. That's fine. If you reach out to one person, that's fine. If you don't reach out to anyone, that's fine. Yeah, I got your stack next, Aisha. So it's not like you have to go out and outreach to groups. The list that we have is just a list of groups that people found that existed and what contact information. So for right now, it's like, hey, we have this thing. You want to come join, work with us to work with other groups. But if you want to individually outreach to other groups, like say Central Jersey DSA works with Northern New Jersey DSA and Southern New Jersey DSA, they're already, linked together. But what Solidarity Network is trying to do is say, okay, well, those three groups, now there's these other groups down here and these other groups up here. So the more groups we have, it's just like the more groups we know about each other. Oh, well, we can't help you, but this group in the next town, they do the same thing. Maybe they have more funds, or, it's just kind of like a collaborative process. It's not a pressure stress kind of thing where there's any sort of force. Mia posted something, mutualaid.nyc. I have not looked at that yet, so that's in the chat. And Aisha?
Yeah, no, Mia, I think, so what I'm saying, I don't think maybe I was explaining what I was saying, right? So it's not that I think the points of, like we wrote the points of unity collaboratively. What I'm trying to ask is, it feels like a lot of structure and resources and time and energy if there's weekly meetings and paying for creating a nonprofit and then paying for things like Lumio and stuff. Those aren't bad things, but it feels like those are happening, but everyone left. And so it seems like in the beginning, it was so that groups could just talk to each other and communicate, and they've all left. And that is like, I just think that it's sort of dishonest to present it like there's all these groups in this network when they left during that after that conference. Like if someone read that, they would think all these groups are communicating and like moving forward, but that's not what's happening. And I'm sorry, I really didn't mean to come in tonight to sort of like criticize from and be like an ideas guy or something like that. Like, but I just like, because I was attending all the meetings before, I just wanted to check in and be like, I do not have the capacity to be part of the group anymore, but like, we have almost all members here from Central Jersey DSA, and we just had our meeting tonight too, where, again, like we're readjusting and adjusting to lower capacity and changing projects from like big projects to small projects to like fit the time and energy we have. And so this group seems like it's just making a big project, which won't have like, I'm sorry, I'm just a little confused on like what, on like if if someone went to that website, I just don't feel like they would understand what's happening here is I guess what I'm confused about. But again, like I said, I'm stepping back. And so I don't want to like, if people are excited to do this work, like I don't want to like, I'm not trying to criticize. I'm just sort of trying to get clarification is what I'm saying. And then I do also think it's important to check in with the groups who were involved before to say like, this is what we're doing moving forward. do you want to be part of it? Or like, do you want to still get the emails? Are you okay with like your name being part of it? Things like that. I just think it is good to check in.
So in terms of reaching out to the groups before, we've been sending emails on the same email thread that we were using before and no one's replying. I post a link to the Zoom meeting every time we have a meeting on there and no one's coming. So everyone who was formerly involved in planning is still being invited every time we do anything.
No, sorry, I'm saying if what is happening, like, do they know what's happening and do they want to be part of it? Not like, were they invited?
Well, we're still figuring out what's happening. That's what these meetings are about, is where do we go? We did the conference and then we had one meeting and then it sort of died, but it wasn't intended to die. So like me and I, like, and me, a few others, like stayed in contact and kind of worked on things. So what we're doing now is the where do we go from here kind of thing. Now joining the network just means that you have our resources. You don't have to come to planning meetings. You don't have to vote. You don't have to do anything. It's just, here we are, we're linking groups together. If you want your group linked to other groups, just throw it in there. You know, you want to be personally linked to other groups, however it works. Some of us will be doing the planning and, you know, the work and stuff. In terms of becoming a nonprofit, that's not going to cost. I could get the money for that if we have everything written on paper. So it's not going to be like me. I spent out of pocket cost on tech stuff. But right now we're not doing anything huge. We're figuring out what we're going to do. At some point, once this is all ironed out, we're going to blow it up to everywhere. But right now, we're just inviting people to the meetings to help decide, like the original group did. Is like your input is good, you know, that's what we want, is input from people. And then we do a vote. And even if you just make a proposal and vote and never come to a meeting again, you're getting your say out there. So everyone has their say. So every group can give their input or their feedback on what we're doing, and everything can be changed. So the work part of what we're doing is just whoever wants to pitch in and do it. The network itself is open to everybody. So we're just hoping networks will join, even if they don't get involved in planning or come to a conference or do a proposal. It's just to link. Like the ultimate goal is just to link groups together. Like a group in Sussex County might link up with a group in Camden. Maybe they'll never come to a meeting. Maybe they'll never work on planning. But I have a friend in Sussex County who needs help. Oh, wait, I know a group up there. I met them through the network because, you know, I don't know who's working mutual aid in New Brunswick. You know, I mean, they're Hope City Socialists, but there might be other groups and people don't know about each other. So if everyone finds out about each other, that these groups exist, we might be able to share resources. Or we don't have this month. Oh, we do, you know, we can sort of just share it. It's just to sort of facilitate the ease of groups working together. So the planning meetings, like, will keep coming. Some people will keep coming. Some people won't. Some people may want to. Some people may be in and out, and that's perfectly fine. So the network itself is open to everybody. The planning is whoever wants to come and be part of the process of creation and changes and growing. Does that make sense? There's a bunch of stuff in chat. Felix says it might be a dead end. And then Mia, you're on Stack.
Okay. First we got to get better at respecting stacks. They're there for a reason. And I think like the big misconception about everything is when we reach out to people, they think we are a mutual aid group. And I think what you put forward about getting the consent definitely is something we should do. We kind of have a consent-based opt-in for our email thread. People are allowed to remove themselves at any time, and like they have done that. And like I think we can be better at wording on our website. The website hasn't been updated since the conference. There's been new stuff that's gone onto the server for it. But the person, me and Leah worked really hard on that website. And Leah is at capacity right now. So it's kind of like as a stalemate, the website. So it hasn't really been updated. But I can definitely do better at that. I have a 3-day weekend this weekend. I can definitely work on that. And yeah, that's all really I have to say. Go ahead, Felix.
So far, I've been trying to do some outreach in regards to a number of different groups. their positions of the three I managed to get in contact with are generally similar in that they're still interested in the network in what they say, but it doesn't seem like they're really going to be using their resources as much. Right now, like one person has mentioned that they're still in the Rocket Chat. The other two say that they're interested in hearing more, but they're not really going to be attending the meetings. As a result, I was wondering, like, it's not necessarily that the network can't help you, but just wondering, is there a different way we should be approaching these groups, attending their meetings, and often in the past, like we tried attending, for example, Mitchell Morris meetings. And that didn't necessarily lead to like improvements. It led to like some improvements in relationships between members within groups or groups that were within the Solidarity Network NJ. I don't know if groups are necessarily interested in like mixing their time between their like local concerns as well as getting very heavily involved in Solidarity Network NJ. Would you all be, I guess, fine with continuing this at the point where it is, where maybe over the course of a few months we'll get like a new member and then maybe a new member, but it will probably stay around this level of engagement for the foreseeable future?
Since no one's on stack, I'll cover it. Becoming a member does not mean you have to be part of the planning group. Mia?
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything you said, Felix. And I know personally my own group, UCMA, struggles with having a constant, because like everyone's lives, we have to consider that. Like people will have stuff going on outside of this. And we definitely have to be very respectful of people's time while they are involved with us. And the idea of like reaching out to other groups, yes, it's great. Attending their meetings, it's absolutely great. I've done that a few times with Montclair, and I've reported back. They actually have a really cool program. It's like the Little Free Library, but it's like little free food, and they have about 40 of the things about like their area, and like it's literally you can go and just get free food. And I know I've reached out to Brick City Mutual Aid because I literally live on a street in Newark that has a community fridge. So it's like it's definitely great knowing like who's around you, and I think we should continue reaching out. I just think like we've been talking about the wording for how we're going to reach out to everyone, and it's like every time we put this forward with the wording, it doesn't go anywhere. And then we lose the structure of trying to get groups into the network. That's why the tracker was created so everyone could see who's working on what. And I definitely do know that like for just from experience, we can go from having 2 to 3 people on a Zoom call to maybe 20, and then the next week dropping down to even smaller. That's a great point you brought forward, and that's why we proposed Lumio. Because when there is a proposal, like the notes are posted on Lumio for people to review, and then they can vote on it however they see fit. Because like it's hard. Like, I mean, honestly, full-time job, like it's hard, like constantly being in organizing mode. And I've had to take a step back from Solidarity myself when I was going through things. So yeah, we need to come up with a process that is respectful of people's times, and we need to do it quick, because from what I keep seeing, we're not making progress. We're discussing everything the same every week. So we definitely need to work together on coming to those terms with what needs to happen. And then Aaron's on stack.
Yeah, so yesterday we had a Aisha led a phone bank of basically people within DSA for an event. I'm wondering if maybe something like that might be useful for us now. Like if we have contact information for individuals who were at the conference before specifically, not the list of groups that we have of mutual aid organizations, but people who were actually at the conference. If we call them up and say, hey, We're going to be having this social event coming up October 29th. Would you be interested in coming? Would you be interested in helping us plan? Like, I know for me at this moment, and I'm hoping that this changes soon, but I'm in a place where for the moment, this is the time that I can allot to the Solidarity Network, which is unfortunate, but I know like right now I can't really do a lot outside of between, except, you know, on occasion. But, you know, do you think it would be kind of worth maybe taking a session, probably not from 8:30 to 9:30, because that's kind of late for people, but, you know, making a session where we can kind of get together and just like sit for an hour or two, do these calls for people who are at the conference. We know that they have interest, at least they were interested in the initial idea, and kind of having that in person, well, a person-to-person conversation. Aisha, so you said, is reaching out to individuals rather than orgs turning this into a new organization? I don't think necessarily, because, you know, we need like people to speak to in terms of like organizations don't have faces necessarily. So yeah, I think we can say, hey, we'd like you to come, you know, would your organization be interested in coming as well? Like, can you reach out to your people? Because they have those relationships already built. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, that maybe it's not like the most perfect thing in terms of individuals versus organizations, but, you know, I think at the end of the day, it's individuals that we're trying to get involved, who are going to be doing the work, who are going to be showing up.
I just put myself on Stack. For some reason, my chat is delayed. The ultimate goal is to have groups involved. Now, someone posted about if you live in Montclair, connect you with Montclair Mutual Aid. Well, maybe you live in Montclair and you don't know Mutual Montclair exists, but you might find out through the Solidarity Network, because Mutual Montclair is part of the Solidarity Network. I'm just using it as a fake example. Oh, wow, there is a group right by me. That's it. There's no more work or more or less work involved. It's just to connect people. That's the goal. Some people will be involved in the planning, but everyone will be involved in the decision. So we can reach out to orgs and to individuals, because individuals are often part of orgs. So the outreach, like individuals will be in the planning meetings, but orgs will be part of the network in a larger sense. Mia? Yeah. I think my chat's delayed, so I might be getting the stacks. Oh, 1 second.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so I think also while we are connecting groups, we should also consider like the ambitions that we have, like forming a secure platform for people to host their own groups on, like Mutual Drive, getting that set up where people can have a central like database of documents from all the other groups. And like, for example, like say Princeton Mutual Aid, they have onboarding meetings twice a month. If they could like share those documents through their onboarding, it could definitely help another group learn how to onboard people. And I think like we should also work on the projects that like are going to make it so we can facilitate a network, but we definitely need to come up with a plan, because everyone is putting very valid things tonight that we should work on. And I think I said this last week, that this group has more of an identity crisis than when I found out I was trans. So we really need to figure out very quickly what our next goals are. And so if anyone has any goals, please just put them in the chat, and what you want to see happen, because we can change literally overnight. with how we're doing things.
So, I think Aaron says, I think we need to focus on our next event. That's in the agenda. We may or may not get to that. So the social
Mark, are you still talking? We can't hear you. Or I can't hear you. Yeah, Mark, if you're talking, we can't hear you. Yeah. Cal. Subbing in for the role of Mark. Yeah, no, I mean, I think my point, like, and I've been saying this for a couple of weeks, that I think that if we focus on our next event, you know, it's a manageable thing to arrange. That's a very specific thing that we can ask organizations and individuals to get involved with. And that would kind of give them something to work towards. I mean, I think what worked really well in the beginning was that we had a conference to plan and people came and they showed up to that and we made specific decisions related to that. I think nobody wants to join a group just to figure out what the group is. Like, the group doesn't exist for its own sake. It exists like to do things, you know, to meet up with each other, to form these connections. So, I mean, yes, we have the points of unity that we have to work out. We have all of the, you know, identities that we have to figure out. But if we can just get to the next thing and the next thing after that, like, some of this is going to, I think, happen kind of organically, and we can shape it to make sure that it's doing so in a productive and healthy way. But I think, like, doing all this navel gazing in terms of the language of, like, you know, exactly what we're doing, I see that as a dead end. I think, like, let's keep moving forward. Let's find out who can bring plates to the, you know, social event. Like, I think that's the path, one step at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a good idea. Does anyone see, so October 29th was the proposal. Is this a feasible goal for us to organize another event? With only like 2 months?
I think that depends on the scale of it, you know, what we actually want to get done. In some ways, it's easier than the conference in that we're not organizing a bunch of speakers and presentations. Actually, you've had more experience than I have organizing something like that, including very recently. Do you think that that's kind of a feasible timeline? Or if there's a version of it that's feasible within that timeline?
Sorry, did you say Aisha?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Because I know you have some experience with it, including the, I think, the very successful labor meetup that we had this past weekend.
Yeah, I mean, that was relatively easy. Like, it didn't require a lot of planning because it was done at a business that has like bathrooms and everything. And we didn't, like, we provided some food and then people purchased their own like drinks and things. So it was actually really, really easy. It honestly depends. Like, I think it's good to, I think one thing that people skip a lot is like talking about what the goals are. Are the goals just for social, or is it for anything else? And then how much time and energy do you want to put in it? I would say that my learning from the planning the conference was that we didn't, two things, I guess. Like, one was that there wasn't, and this is like, I find this across most of my organizing, like there isn't a good way of like holding people accountable for the tasks that they say they're going to do. And so what happens is that we spend more time at meetings than actually doing the things that we want to get out of the meetings. And then the second thing is when the committees were formed, rather than the committees meeting really and accomplishing the things that the committees are supposed to do, they were like a section of the agenda of the main meeting. And so everyone basically had to listen to the whole, rather than like a check-in, it was like a lot of times it was like everyone was in every committee because that work was happening at the main thing. So again, if it really depends on how involved you make the social event. And then planning, I think like it's good to like have maybe, like Mia said, she made a version of a tasking chart. I think that's like really important to make sure that people accomplish the goals and then set like the deadlines that you want to, even yourself, and then have someone check in with you to make sure you did it.
Okay. I mean, honestly, like even, oh, I'm sorry, Mia, you're on Stack?
Am I on Stack? Go on. I forgot what I was on Stack for. Just go
I think
on.
that was from before.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so, you know, in terms of this, look, if we say we want to do the exact same event that we did last weekend, go to the Montclair Brewery, and, you know, we already know that works, like, maybe we do that. You know, let's, I think, maybe get like a scale of kind of easiest to most complicated and set a target for what we think we can actually accomplish within, we have a little bit less than 2 months, which is not a horrible time frame, cognizant of the fact that we, you know, could have very different weather in late October than we have in late August. But, you know, the point is like, if we can just kind of figure out what we think we can accomplish, and you're right, everyone's going to have to like hold, in some sense, hold themselves accountable for what they actually want to do. So, you know, I don't know if we've necessarily been the best at keeping notes about that, who promises to do what and when. But yeah.
Mia?
So the first task in doing that is reaching out to them. So who wants to reach out to Montclair and discuss that we want to have a social get together of people involved in mutual aid?
Well, so do we want to, I mean, I just mentioned that literally as just a possibility from something that we did literally less, you know, a week ago, but it doesn't have to be that.
Okay, does anyone have any places that they feel like we should focus on?
I missed what he said. My internet's been cutting out. What do you mean by places?
For this social get together, do we have like an idea of where it's gonna be? Do we want to have it in a different part of the state than like where the conference was to get different people to visit? Let's think about how we want to do that, how long we want the event to go for. And yeah, how do we want, we have our email list of everyone from the conference. About 12 people though unsubscribed since the conference, and definitely we're not going to reach out to those people because they've explicitly said they don't want to communicate. But yeah, with the email platform we have, we can give up to 3 people an account. So if someone wants to take up outreach for the event, I can work on just the tech stuff behind it, like making sure people are registered and everything. Yeah, but right now I think we need a creative person. And we need an outreach person. And we need a logistics person to organize the supplies and what is going to be needed for this event. I think we should start there. I also think if it's possible, to meet every week. And I think we should that location, we don't want to put it somewhere that's far away from everybody. Yeah, that's true. That's a very good point. Whew, I think we can do it if we buckle down and really start reaching out to people. So maybe within the next 48 hours, we come up with an email with a proposal saying, hey, this is something we might want to do. Can you give us your input? And I'll make like a form where people can submit their idea of the event. And yeah, let's see if we can make this happen.
Felix?
I don't think I have anything else to add. I'll take myself off staff.
I think,
Aaron?
sorry, yeah.
There's a bunch of stacks, so we can. Aaron?
Yeah, I was gonna say, email's okay. Do we have phone numbers for people who actually were at the conference who have not unlisted from us? Because if we can try to have a more direct connection, actually talk to a person as opposed to just sending another email, which is easy to ignore, I think that would be a little bit better.
Let
You
me
can also show
pull
up at
up.
their house and start throwing rocks at their window. I mean, like little.
Hmm.
I'm okay with that too.
My neighbor's driveway has big rocks in it, so just saying. Yeah, I don't know. I have numbers for everybody that's currently involved, but I'm not sure what we got from the other people. So
I'm
we can
checking
do it.
right now.
While she's checking, Shannon.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that if we need like an outreach, I'd be interested in helping out with that. I have like a little bit of experience with that, so I can help like come up with an email or anything.
Anything that we're working on, we can send to email like internally. I have
Mhm.
everybody's email addresses if you gave it to me, or if you have
Alright.
an FSNJ, and we can bounce the ideas back around and do it outside of the meetings. And
Oh, that's perfect. So, do you want me to like send you my like personal email or?
So I have some bad news. When we had the conference, we really took privacy into consideration, and after the conference was
we ended up
over,
going with Central Jersey. Huh?
what?
What? Oh, you said something.
After the
Mic was over.
conference, we took privacy like as our main concern with the data. So I'm looking at the data on the website and the server right now. We actually deleted it from the server, but I'm seeing if there's an archive of it. Typically there is. I usually export everything and archive it. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, we have numbers. We do. We have that table 1-grid was the original signups for the conference. It has everything from the Airtable, and it looks like a good majority of the people gave out phone numbers. So this is already uploaded to our drive, I think. If someone can format it nicely, because right now it's just raw data. So yeah, we definitely have phone numbers, so we can definitely text people, call them, and yeah.
I want to touch on this before it gets lost. Aaron said, let's be strategic about location. We want to put somewhere that's far away from everybody. That's part of why we decided Central Jersey, so North and South could come. I know for me personally, if it's North Jersey or South Jersey, I might not be able to come. So if we get a better from Aaron again, so if we get a better sense of who is coming, that is true. But since we have to plan the location soon, we have to get to know who's going to be coming real soon. And Yoshi mentioned we suggested Rutgers Newark for the tech that would be available. That was for the conference. This is just a social event, so we don't really need tech. It's just like a meet and greet and let's talk to each other. And I just wanted to suggest that we don't get a place that you have to pay money to go into or buy stuff there. I think like a picnic or even an indoor, a hall or, something Halloweeny would be better. See here, I'm stacking. Yeah. Aaron said, I think I learned a lesson here too. When we have an event, make sure we collect contact info. Yes, definitely. I've learned that lesson the hard way myself. And Mia, you're on stack again.
Okay, so I'm gonna need everyone to hear me out on this. Based on our points of unity, why don't we have an anti-colonizer event during the month of November where Thanksgiving is. Maybe push it off a month,
Ooh.
but have an anti-colonizer.
I love
event.
that. I love that so much. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. So maybe push it back a month to give us that time so we can actually like really plan this, but like we can totally do like an anti-colonizer event and like we can I think Jeff, I'll reach out to Jeff to see if he still has contacts with some of the native tribes so they can like, speak at it. Yeah, so I think maybe push it back a month and just have a different kind of event. Plus a lot of people may want to go out that weekend and Halloween, like it's a thing. So we may run into that.
So we would have to put up a new poll on Lumio because we already voted and it's October 29th. I am not opposed to going into November because October is crazy busy for me. I would not do it on the holiday weekend, like on the Thanksgiving, because yeah, people will definitely not be around. But sometime like before holiday, like mid-November might work. Yoshi, Halloweeny just means Halloween themed if it's going to be like 2 days before Halloween. Yeah, people would have to commit. Shannon agrees to something. Yeah, maybe not on a holiday weekend, but yeah, other than that. So we can do another Lumio poll. Should we keep October 29th or change it to these dates? Something like that. I don't know how to set up the Lumio polls. But technically, I think we have to do another Lumio if we're going to change the date, right? In the democratic process thing. I think. I don't know. Can y'all still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You're audible.
Okay. The Wi-Fi in the house has been cutting out and it kicks me out for a minute. And I have to get back. It brings back when I jump onto cellular data. All right, so we've got to come up with a place. We've got to get people to come. Logistics on what we'll need. What we'll need exactly depends on where we are. I don't think we'll have a problem getting supplies and stuff. Like if we do our own event, like just for example, like a picnic, although November, that probably would be indoor. I don't think, see you, Felix. I don't think we would, I like plates and forks and cups and bowls and food. I don't think we'll have a problem with that. And we don't really need to do much in terms of organizing except to get people there and find the place. So by next week, we should try to have like some idea maybe of what where and what and when and how. I can handle a lot of the logistics and getting stuff because I could probably get a lot donated and, whatever. If I have to buy crap, I have to buy crap. But, we've got to decide the when because we already decided it. Now we're undeciding. So redeciding the when and, getting people to come, which there's an outreach essentially to, do you want to join the network? There's an outreach to, do you want to come and help us plan? There's an outreach to, do you want to come to the social event? So there's sort of three different things that are all together, but not together at the same time. Obviously, if you're coming to planning, you're probably part of the network. Just in the interest of time, the other two, there's two things in tech. Mia created, hold on one second, Aaron, because Mia just posted the Slack thing and I'll get to you. We've been using Rocket Chat and very few people have been using it. So we now have a Slack channel, a Slack which has several channels in it. So you can join the Slack and we can do basic discussions on there. Slack is not encrypted like Rocket Chat is. So we're thinking keeping the Rocket Chat. So if you wanted like send encrypted messages to each other, we could still use the Rocket Chat and just having both. But Slack would be for like general communications. I think I got that right. Signal's also encrypted. We do have Signal channels from the old thing, but nobody was using them, but they still exist. I was in the logistics channel. So we could use Signal as well. We could just convert that over because Signal's also encrypted. But Aaron?
I was just gonna say, for me and Shannon, since you were both really kind of jazzed by the what is it, like anti-colonial idea, which I like too. I'd like to maybe have a discussion next week of like what that might look like a little bit more. I'm curious. I don't know. So maybe if like you could kind of brainstorm some of the like just what that means a little bit.
I'm gonna work my butt off to get someone who's native to speak at that meeting, so that we can be educated and make informed decisions, and get their idea first about how they feel about something like this happening, where we don't like overstep and like just be like the savior complex. So I want to make sure that like we get it down right. I'm gonna reach out to a few people this week, and see if they can have someone pretty much check our privilege, so we're not, yeah, so we don't go into this and make mistakes.
Understandable. Okay. Mia said, please join the snack. We have the pro plan through her nonprofit, which is awesome. So the tech is constantly being upgraded. So just a reminder, if you don't have a Solidarity Network email, or you need to get into Lumio or to Slack or any of the tech stuff that we mentioned, get in touch with Mia. Eventually, if we start to really grow, we're gonna have to have other people able to do that, but right now it's through Mia. We covered up on LHS. All right, I think we at least touched on everything in the agenda. Oh, the next meeting will be next Thursday at 8:30. Mia posted a link in the agenda, Mutual Aid NYC. I haven't looked at it yet, so I can't comment on that. Is there anything that anybody else would like to discuss, say, comment, complaints? You can just file them after the meeting.
I have something. So it's been a challenge for us in how we can communicate. Keeping people engaged has been a big challenge for us. So I just want to put it out to everyone in this meeting. Like, how do you feel about Slack being a method of communication for us? How do you feel about Rocket Chat? And how do you feel about the emails? So if anyone has anything to say about that, please share. Because I want to make sure we're listening and we communicate with how people need to be communicated with.
Shannon?
Yeah. So when it comes to like us using Slack, personally, I don't really have a problem with it. Like I think that it can be a pretty good way to like for me at least, like it's good for me to sort of communicate because like sometimes like for example, like sometimes like just straight up emails, you get so many of them, or sometimes like you don't check, like like you're busy or something and you don't see it, and you can end up missing something important, and having the Slack there and having us like communicate on there, I think makes it a little bit easier for me to like sort of keep up with what's going on. And plus it allows me to sort of I like how I'm able to like look back and see like there's anything I might have missed from before. And yeah, like I don't know, I personally I'm on board with that.
I use Slack for 2 other groups, so I check my Slack 1,000 times a day. Rocket Chat I never heard of until this group. Gonna keep sending emails no matter what, but you're more than welcome to tell me to take you off, and I will not send them to you if you would like. Shannon says, yeah, no problem. So I'm open to any potential thing. Does anybody have any problems with any of this? Like we're just trying to make everybody be able to communicate. We're never going to get 100% of the people using any one of these platforms. In every group I'm in, there's always problems. DWG, which is a disability working group, which is a national group, uses Slack. So it's kind of almost you have to use it because that's the only way we have to communicate most of the time. But even people still don't read stuff, still don't use stuff. Should we log into the Slack with the SNNJ? Yes. Mia says yes. Like if you have any problems, you can reach out to Mia. I'm hoping to learn how to do all this myself too. But right now they're all set up and everything's ready to go. We've been using them. It's a single sign-on. You already have an account. I wonder how that works with my texting Slack workspace. Oh, if you have a Slack workspace already, you just have a new Slack workspace. Because I had several, and now I just have like disability working groups on there. Central Jersey TSA is on there. I have like 3 or 4 other ones from International Committee, from National DSA. So you just get another thing in your list of Slack channels. Yoshi pointed out that he uses his Gmail for Slack workspace. I use my Gmail too, and I'm in there. I don't know. I don't think I used my SNNJ to get in there. I think I used my Lostfish to get in there. All my Slacks, when I click on Slack, all my different Slack channels are in one place. That's all I know. Yeah, and if you have problems getting in, just ask me for help. And she's sure she really will do her best to make it accessible. I've learned that. Anything else? Yes,
You are signed in with your SNNJ account.
but it still shows up in the list with my other Slack channels that I'm signed in through Lostfish 222 account. So even though it's signed in under a different email, they're all still in my Slack list. I just click on Slack and there's like all the groups are listed.
Okay.
So I don't know how that works. Maybe it's, I don't know. But it's in my Slack list with everything else.
I'm sending you an invite right now, Yoshi.
I don't remember what I did to get into it.
You should be, you can just sign in now. Your provision to Slack. But it is getting late. Can I propose that we adjourn this meeting?
Seconded.
It's the quickest second in history. All right.
I think it's a really long day.
All in favor, have a wonderful night. All opposed, have a wonderful night anyway.
Night.
Good night, everybody.
Cameo.
Thanks for coming.